Hello and welcome to my Moss Farm tutorial. I'm just going to start off by going over why I built it and what it is, and there'll be some cards in the video so you can skip past this if you want to jump straight to it. But I would say that this farm is not for somebody who wants something very simple. This is for consistency and for self-sustainability really. So let's just begin by, obviously we have the sorting system down here for all the items. The only one I didn't include was the seeds because in my world I'm not going to use them, but it's quite easy to expand. It's the regular sorting system that you would get, and with the BlueIce you can actually extend this as far as you want really. Pretty much it'll, within reason the items will keep going and anything in excess will get burned in the flames. And we've got a little system here with 3 droppers spitting out all the items as quick as they're coming in from the inside where the farm is. So we have 2 layers here. On the bottom layer we've got the droppers, we have the system here which is the clock, and this will go up and activate both layers along with a switch here. So if I switch that on, you can see both of the layers are now going, and it will collect all of the items that come out from it. And then when I switch it off, it will stop and it doesn't create any cobblestone, because that's one of the inconsistencies I was finding with some of the other farms, and it's part of the reason why I've gone with this system here, is to try and mitigate that, and basically now it doesn't ever do it for me. The second layer is to actually create the bone mill, and you can see I've got the composters here with a kind of weird array of hoppers. There might have been a better way to do this, but this was pretty much what I got working, so I was quite happy with it. 1 row of hoppers, so you'll see here these 4 go into the bottom layer, so that will be filling this up with bone meal, and the bottom layer will always be producing the items that get put into the chests. Then the second layer will fill up from this side. So then we have these hoppers down here. All 4 of these go into the bottom layer, into this dispenser right here, and then the other 3, so there's 7 composters here, and these 3 will go down, and they will try to go along here first. But once this, and this are full, so obviously that means all of these droppers are also full, and you can just see in here that goes into the bottom dropper, then it will just overspill and go down into this chest. So this is really an overspill for the bone mill. This isn't going to produce much, if any. You would need to run this for a very long time to get to that point. But yes, so the majority of the bone mill is going into the bottom, and that's why I'll mention later on you'll need to fill up this dispenser and these 3 hoppers, and preferably these 2 hoppers here, and that way any excess bone meal that's produced on these 4 will get sent up to the top ones, and then once it's full, obviously then it will all filter down into there. And the reason you need to fill that up is because this top one actually doesn't fill up from the 3 composters quite quick enough. It's not quite there with the speed. The 4 is more than enough, the 3 is not quite enough. So basically the excess from these ones needs to go into the top one to keep this farm running, which is fine because it just means you have to fill it up once at the start. And then yeah, the top, same layer, it's the same thing again, but just producing bone meal instead of the items. And then this setup here essentially just opens all of the trapdoors when you turn the farm off, so that way if there's any items sitting on top, it will filter them through and you won't lose any items from that either. But I think that's enough explaining for now. Let's just jump over into a fresh world, and I'll show you in a double chest what items you are going to need to do this. Now you may notice that the farm is actually already fully built up. That's because I have finished the tutorial at this point. However, I did make a couple of changes just to get these dispensers to not be active all of the time. So when you switch on the farm, this tower right here going up will turn on these observers, and as well these observers down the bottom will switch on and off depending on when the farm is on and off. That way you won't have the annoying noise. So now when it's off there should be no annoying clicking sounds. I wasn't considerate about that because in my world I have the dispensers reduced, so there's really no volume to worry about. So I actually just decided to go through and redo the list of items, because there was also a couple of rogue blocks that didn't need to be there, so I just kind of minimized what was needed. So this is what you will need. The glass can be any type of glass. You probably don't need all of it to be glass, but where I've placed it is anywhere that I'm concerned might get converted, or places where I need redstone signal to be blocked one way and allowed another. The blocks here, I use LightBlueConcrete just to make it easily visible, but again you can replace this with any block as well. You can use any block that isn't convertible by moss, so that's what you need to use there. So you can't use stone or dirt, those kind of things. It will need to be, you know, something like smooth stone or something that is crafted. The stone here, you don't need 4 stacks, but I did just put the extra in just so that you have some temporary blocks if you want to use those. You can also bring a stack of dirt as temporary blocks because you will need a few in this. You need 2 water buckets in order to create an infinite source. You'll need to make one at the start for the item sorter, or you can place those in at the end. But either way, for the rest of the farm, all of the water can be got from 2 sources while you're filling up the farm, and I go over how to do that later. So you technically only need 2 once you start building up. You need 4 lava buckets. You need a soul sand or a soul soil works as well. You need 16 of this blue ice, but you could also use packed ice depending on how long you want to make your item sorter. You can have lots of layers, and the longer you make it, the more likely you are to need blue ice. In terms of these 4 items here, the trapdoors, the signs, the slabs and the stairs, you can use any variants. I just used different coloured ones to make it more obvious what I was doing, but you can use any variants of those and they all work. You'll also need 28 filter blocks if you're going to follow mine, or for however many layers of the item sorter you want to do. You'll just need an extra 4 for each layer. And yeah, I prefer to give it a name and make it an item that isn't going to stack with any random items that drop down. But you can also just use any item as long as it's not one that comes from the farm. You won't run into any issues. Here you can't really tell, but this is the comparators on the left, so you need 9 comparators and you need 26 repeaters. And the same down here, you need 2 dispensers and 9 droppers. And these are your furnaces here. And then in addition to these items, you just want to get yourself 5 stacks of bone blocks and maybe an extra stack of bone meal here. I do recommend bringing this because then you can fill up to these 2 hoppers here, and that way any extra bone meal that is produced will actually get sent up into the top part of the farm rather than waiting for this to fill up, because it is possible for this to get emptied if this one isn't full yet, because the 3 on one side is a little bit slow. But I'll go over that later in the video. And yeah, that is all of the resources. So now I'm going to jump to starting this build. So if you're going to build this underground, you're going to need to dig a hole 15 blocks deep. You're going to need to go 13 blocks up, although I would recommend going up 1 more if you can, just to put all the stuff on top. I did manage to do it without doing it, it just gets a bit difficult. And then you need 19 blocks wide. And then of course you're going to need some space at the front for your sorting system. Now this really depends how you want to do it and you know how big you want that to be. For now I've just got 2 for moss blocks, 2 for moss carpets and 1 for each of the bushes to grow the trees, and then you'll have seeds as well that come out, but I just burned those, I didn't keep them. And you'll have 1 for your bone meal, but at the end of the day the bone meal isn't going to properly fill up. So just to start off, we're going to go from the chests, because that way you know where you're going to place it, and you're going to place down 7 chests, and that is 6, so you've got 7 there, and we'll make those double chests. And from the bottom layer we're just going to do 2 rows of chests like this, and you can obviously extend that down or you can extend it out depending on what you want. And then you're just going to put hoppers on the back of all of these. Now because of the ice path, you're going to need to put another row of hoppers going into this, because your ice is going to go above here. And now you want to take your blue ice and put it on the first row of hoppers, the ones next to the chest, and you're going to come out 2 more from that. And then from this ice you're going to go out 7 more, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now you should have this L shape. Now on the end of your ice you can just put down your soul sand for now. Then you want to put your hoppers, the remaining ones, going into the blue ice, except from the first line where you have the bone meal. You can just put that straight down into the bone meal or into the blue ice, it really doesn't matter either way. So then what you're going to do is you're going to come to the back of your hoppers, you're going to go out 1, so you'll be on this line here, so you're 1 away, and then from the second one in you can just place 7 blocks down. On those 7 blocks you're just going to place your torches, and then on top of those torches, so you can do it on the front of these, you're going to place blocks like this, blocks like this. So you'll have 2 rows, and now you've got this shape here with the torches underneath, and then your repeaters are going to go into the bottom row of blocks like that. And then you can fill out the remaining blocks. So you need a row of blocks behind the repeaters and a row of blocks above the repeaters. Then coming off of the hoppers, on top of these blocks we just placed, you want a row of comparators like this, and you can fill out the remaining blocks with the redstone. Now, something I didn't include in the chests, actually I've just realized, is you're going to need some filter blocks. And then you're going to place in 4 of these filters in each hopper, leaving the first space open. Now, you will need at least 1 of each block in these, but you can just get it once the farm starts if you don't actually have any available. This just depends, you know, put this in an order you want, whatever you prefer, place as many in of each that you want, and you can obviously extend this out by repeating the same pattern outwards. And because it's the blue ice, it should be able to go quite far. If you use the packed ice, you might not be able to go as far, but you should be fine either way. Now you need to come to the other side of this ice path, and you're going to go from the first one 4 across, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you just want to place a block, one of your regular blocks, 2 blocks below that. So that is the floor for this example, but if you're extending it down, this might not be the floor, so just 1 gap in between, and you're going to extend that out to 10 blocks. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then on the side of these blocks, on the other side of where you have your sorting system, you're going to go one in and just place 4 blocks like this. Right, now we're going to put in the system for dispensing the items into the chests. So you're going to go up with 2 observers like this. So 1 on either side of the blue line you just made, and then another one block gap over. Then you're going to break these observers. So after you've got those in, you're going to need to go down 1 block and then place an observer underneath like this. Now, if you wanted to, you can have these turn off. I've got them set to just always be on, and these are the only ones in the farm. But it'd be quite easy, because what we're going to do is we're going to place a block here and a block here, and this block underneath isn't needed. So just for the actual farm, I'm going to remove it. But obviously, you're probably going to have some sort of wall here, so you can incorporate the switch into your wall, and this is where your lever is going to be. So if you want to have these observers switch off, you can place some sticky pistons in like this, 1 block away, and you'll see that when this switch is powered, this redstone line will power the first 2, and then you're just going to need to place 3 blocks over like this and place some redstone in. So in the original design, we have a redstone torch coming off of here. Now this will actually activate this one when it's switched off, so we don't want that. So if you're going to use this system, then you can have a block coming off of here and then just have the redstone torch coming off the side of this block instead, like that. And then we'll extend this redstone line to be 8 long, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that will go into a block. So now we're going to do the clock for the whole system. So you're going to put a comparator here in subtract mode, and then we're going to have 4 repeaters like this, 2 that way and 2 that way. The first 2 are going to be on 4 ticks, and the third one is going to be on 3 ticks, and the first one will be on 1 tick. And then we're just going to fill out the gaps here with redstone. So that will be the clock, and we will connect that up in a moment, but we're just going to finish off now the dispensing system for this. So you're going to put blocks on top of here. And why is that powered? Right, you may run into an issue when setting this part up. If you want this sticky piston here where this gets bud powered, just break that and place it again. I think it happened because I looped this by mistake. Yeah, okay, so you can see if that loops, you can just break this one and place it back, and then when you turn on the system it works fine, and when you turn it off again it works fine. So yeah, you might get that stuck if you make any mistakes or place redstone in the wrong place, so that's how you fix that. So we're going to have 3 blocks on top of those observers, and then coming off of those observers we're going to use our droppers like this. Now on the droppers we're going to place 3 hoppers into each of the side ones like so, and then we're going to place 5 going into the middle one like that. So you should see all of the routes lead into these droppers. If I put anything in here, it's currently switched off. and then they all come back out. Now you'll need to place 3 pieces of glass in, so 1 on the end of that hopper and 2 coming off the side of this hopper. And then we need some chests here to align the items. So I'm just going to place a temporary chest here because I'm in creative, but you can place any temporary block. And then we need 6 chests like this, and same on this end, we're going to have a double chest here. So now you should see we've got these chests blocking up the droppers, and then 1 here to align the items with this. Now you need to place 1 hopper going into your bone meal chest, and then we're going to place down our signs. So you're going to have 1 here, and then you can just come all the way out like this, and these should go all the way along to the flames. And you're also going to place some signs on the side here of this hopper all the way out to the same position. So on one side you'll have 6 signs, and on the other side you have 9 signs. So that's your 15 signs done. And now we're going to place in a couple of water buckets. Now for this part you won't be able to get these buckets back, so you might need to go and make a infinite source off to the side, just so you can get 2 more buckets here. So you're going to place 1 there and 1 in that corner there. And now you should see, if I switch this on and I place some items in there, I don't need the signs anymore. Some are going to get stuck because we haven't covered it up yet, but that's fine. This is just for the example, and you can see these have gone into our sorting system. Then you're just going to take a flint and steel and light up the soul sand at the end. And that is the item sorter done. We have the item dispensing done, and we have the clock set up with the switch off system here. So now we're going to move on to actually building up the parts of the farm that make the items. So off the back of these hoppers, you're going to place 7 blocks in of glass, and these do need to be glass because otherwise they'll get converted when the blocks move and break. And then you're going to come out either side so that you're 2 out from the hoppers. Now you just need to fill in this space here. So now you should have an 11 by 7 block of glass. So now on the side of this glass, you're going to place down 7 furnaces on each side. Just like that, so you'll have them capped off at the ends with furnaces. And now from these furnaces, you're going to go out 1. So this is a temporary block here. We're going to break that. And then you're going to come all the way along the furnaces and 1 block out extra. And you're going to do the same on both sides. Breaking that block and coming all the way to the end, and then 1 further. Now from the blocks you just placed, you're going to go out and 1 up. So you have this formation, and then you bring it across, not to the end. So this is just to the end of the furnaces. So you have 7 blocks, 1 opposite, and you do the same on the other side. So 1 out and 1 up, and 7 blocks in total there. And now you want to take your redstone and place it all the way along again to the end of the furnaces. The same on both sides on all of the blocks you just placed, leaving the 1 out that is extra on the end. So on those blocks on the end, you're going to place a repeater on 4 ticks on both sides. Now off of the repeater, you're just going to place 2 slabs here, just like this, the same on both sides as well. And then above this redstone here, we're going to place in our first row of pistons. These will be pushing it into the farm, so you can just go on the side of that redstone and then place in 7 pistons along like this. And you repeat that on both sides. Right, now we're going to connect up this system from the bottom. So on the side here, you can go along the side of this redstone and place 1 raised block here. And then you're going to place a temporary block and then another raised block there. And you can put redstone on top of both of those. So then you're going to place 1 block off the side of this redstone and go out 3 more blocks. And then on the other side, you're going to place 1 glass, and then you're going to place 2 blocks like this. So now you will take your waxed copper bulb. It doesn't need to be wax, it doesn't need to be anything, it can just be a regular copper bulb. You're going to place that on the middle block here with 2 comparators coming off of either side. And then you'll fill out the rest of these blocks here with redstone. And coming off the end of that redstone, you need a observer on each side. Then below where that observer is giving its output, you're going to place 2 slabs like this. Obviously these can actually be full blocks, it just so happens that when making it I made these out of slabs. and you're going to do the same on this side. So you're going to place one block below that, and then you also need a block above, so you have this little triangle formation here with 3 blocks, and you'll do the same on both sides, and then you just want to connect up that with redstone on both sides like that, so when the power comes it will activate this repeater. Now you're going to need to make a tower of redstone torches and blocks here, so you can use scaffolding or just tower up while you're building it, but just go up alternating these until you have 6 redstone torches. That's 4, 5, 6, and essentially this part here is going to be what locks out the water streams when you turn it off. That way any items that are left over will get washed in. If you don't want to add this part, you don't have to. You're only going to lose a few items, but this is just for getting every single item. So now that system is all set up, the first row of pistons will work. So what we're going to do is just fill all of this out with stone. If you fill all this out, it's easier, but you don't have to. You can just let the system do it itself. It will obviously fill it out once you turn it on. Now we're going to make a row of blocks, the ones that cannot be changed. So these are my concrete or whatever block you're using, from the observer all the way to the end of the stone. And then where that blue concrete is, we're going to place 3 pieces of glass on each side like that, and then you can just cover up the dispensers and the hoppers here and going over the water stream like this. Right, now we're going to place in the sticky pistons, so these should come off the side of the concrete you just placed or whatever your block is, and you're going to have 7 sticky pistons in line with those hoppers on both sides. You can then fill out 2 rows of stone like this. And if you're not filling it out or pre-filling it, then you don't need to do this part, but you need to be careful with the next section because there will be water. So at least I would recommend having this row here above the first line of pistons. That way it will block in the water. And for the water, on top of this redstone here on the sides, you're going to place in your stairs like this so that the ends are blocked. So all of the other ones straight, and then the end ones you do at 90 degrees. And we'll go to the other side and do that again. So we now have the space for all of the water. But you're not going to place the water in yet because we're going to place the water in here so that it will make more sources first, and then you can just move those over. So above the copper bulb, you want to fill that with glass like this, so it's blocking that off from the water. And then on the side of the stone here as well, you're going to place in the glass like this. And now for the trapdoors, you want to come to the glass and face towards the item sorter system, so that way the trapdoor, you'll see when it opens, it should be on this side so that the water is blocked in. And you're just going to place in a row of these like this, and then we're going to open all of these to keep that in there. Now you can place your water in, just place it on the glass below, and you'll see when I place this one, the middle is now a source. So you'll have 2 buckets, you can put them like that, take the middle one, place it here, take the middle one, place it here. And now you can use this source to also fill these up over here. So you'll go, and you'll see if I place it here, this one doesn't fill up. So you do need to place it in every single one like this. And you repeat the same steps on this side. Now we're going to place in our second row of furnaces behind the stairs. So you're just going to place 7 behind the stairs like that. And that will stop the sticky pistons from pushing those out. And you repeat the same on the other side. Now we need to fill out a bit more glass, so where the concrete is, you're going to place 4 pieces of glass in like this so that it's blocking the water here, and the same on this side, and the same on this side. You're going to need 3, so you have 4 on the front which goes to the concrete, and 3 on the back to reach the concrete as well, and the same on this side. So now we need to place in our last row of pistons. And this is where blocking the water in comes in handy, because now you can see the stone is blocking all of that, because I need to place a piston facing downwards here, so right next to the sticky piston. And then once you have one in, you can just go along and place them on the side of the other pistons until you have 7 pistons along like this. So you have your sticky pistons facing this way, 1 set of pistons facing down, and 1 across, and you should have that configuration. And once you have all of your pistons in, it should look something like this. And if you want to, you can go and replace all of those stone blocks that I just removed in order to get to the pistons. Now where your items are dropping in, you want to come and place a row of glass on top of that as well. So now you have a box for the items to fall down into. Now where you place those pistons, above the stone here is where your lava is going to go. So you want to place a glass block on the end, glass blocks on top of all of the stairs with the water, and then one on the other end. Just place the lava in the middle, and that will spread across. And you're going to repeat that on this side as well. So one on each end and one across all of the stairs with the water and a lava in the middle. Now in order to hook up both rows of pistons to the clock, you're going to need one slab here, and then you will go up one block and place a slab like this. And you'll also need to place a glass block in here. So there should be a glass block going into the top row of pistons and then slabs going up to allow you to connect the redstone up here. Now you want to place a redstone on this concrete here, and you're going to need a repeater with 1 tick. So that's 0 clicks on the repeater, and just place redstone all the way along the concrete here. Then you're going to place redstone on top of all of the pistons facing downwards with a repeater on 2 ticks going into those. Then on top of the glass block next to the repeater you just placed, you're going to put a concrete and then go all the way across to cover up the lava completely. And that is one side done. So now we need to repeat it on the other side. So you're going to place a slab here, go up by a block and place a slab coming off of it here, both with redstone. And then going into the pistons we need another glass block with a repeater on top on 2 ticks. Then we need a redstone here with a repeater on 1 tick, and we're just going to finish off the redstone going along here, and then a blue concrete on the back of the lava going across all of the lava there. Now we need to connect up the moss system. So if you come to the back where we have our copper bulb and you come off of the redstone that is off of the comparator there, you place 1 slab, and then 1 block up we need to place 2 slabs like this, and then you're going to place redstone on top of those slabs, and then we need a full block coming off of that redstone and redstone going on top of that. Now on the side that the redstone is facing, we're going to put a concrete on the side, and on the side where the redstone comes from we're going to put a glass there. And then you need to place 2 blocks coming off of that going towards this direction, so the left side of the farm from the back. And then off the glass you need 1 going into our redstone tower and 1 coming back over the redstone line below. Now we're going to put redstone all the way along the top of these, and on the far left block we're going to place a repeater. Now what you want to do is come to your trapdoors, and you're going to place a block on top of each of the trapdoors. From the middle of that you're going to place 1 block, and then on the right hand side when you're looking directly at the farm you want to place 3 blocks out. Off of the 3rd block you're going to place a dispenser facing into the middle block of the farm, and then a moss block on the side of that. Make sure that is a dispenser, otherwise you're just going to be spitting out bone meal and not getting any items. Now from that dispenser you need to place 4 hoppers going out. On the left hand side place 1 going into it, and on the right you place 2 going into that. This is where your bone meal will be going back into it, and this is the stage where I would recommend that you fill this up with bone meal up to these 2 here. So you fill up this dispenser, and you want to fill up this hopper here, this hopper here, this hopper here, this one here, and this one here. And you can also fill these 2 out, but these ones aren't as important, they will fill up. I personally filled up all of them, but this one here you will notice it will go down. This one never stays full, and a majority of the items are coming through the middle 3 because that's obviously where it's being generated. So these are the important ones that need to be filled out in order for it to be self-sustainable from the beginning. Now what you want to do is where you have this glass blocking you in, you want to place a temporary block here, and you're going to need to place a dropper on top of that. And then you want to go up another 5 droppers. So now you should have a tower of 6 droppers going all upwards from one above the glass blocks you have. And you can fill out the sides here with glass as well. And this should just help any items that would jump up normally. I was finding them jumping up onto here, so this just kind of blocks that in so you won't have that problem. So you just want 7 blocks like that, so it keeps the items in. So now we're going to connect up our bone meal part. So you need 1 hopper going into here, and then you're going to have a line connecting up to this line but not actually connected. So there'll be a separation here with 4 of them going into the bottom farm, and then 3 that come out into this one which goes up into the top farm. And you can also connect up your hopper back here, so you can just go up 2 hoppers, come across so that it's in line with these hoppers, so you go up 2, across 3 more, and then just bring that over to the glass and then have a hopper going down. So these also won't be connected yet, but it is in line, ready for the next step. So the last thing we need to do now is make sure that this dispenser is being activated. So from the hopper here, not the one that's in line that's going to be collecting the items, just place down 4 concrete. So from the dispenser, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this line should still be open here. You're going to place 1 redstone behind that, and you need to place redstone all the way along this concrete at the back here. Now these ones will be opening the trapdoors to allow the water to get out. Then on your single block, you're going to place a repeater on 4 ticks. This has to be 4 ticks because I found that if it wasn't, it would only produce like 3 or 4 pieces of moss, and that was a problem I was facing, so just make sure you've got that on the right amount of ticks. Then next to your repeater, you're going to place a target block. That's to make sure the redstone line connects, otherwise it won't actually switch off this torch, which we're going to place on the other side, and you can see that's activated the dispenser, and now I have some moss in there. Now off of your repeater, you need to place a observer facing towards the moss, and then a piston also facing towards the moss. So now that you have that system in, you need to connect this up, and on top of this there is a RedstoneDust which will turn off this torch when the farm is switched off. And then from this RedstoneTorch you need to place a RedstoneDust connecting into this line. That way when you turn the farm on, this will unlock, allowing this to start the sequence. But also this is currently switched on because the bulb is on, but this isn't updating. So the reason we have this glass block on the corner here is so that this power from this can't go down and affect the rest of the line. So you see if I switch that off, it's not making its way down there, so that is important. But now this is all set up, we can give it a quick test so you can see that that is all working. And there you go, you can see that's all working. I'm not going to run it too long because I have put the bone meal in there. And you'll see when I switch it off, the water is now open, so that's pushing it out. So now what you want to do is connect up your bone meal chest. So place 1 hopper going down into the final hopper there, and then we're just going to connect a line of hoppers to each other going across all of the tops of the previous hoppers. And then on top of those hoppers, you're going to place in your 7 composters like this, so they should be in line with your droppers all the way to the end of the hoppers, and you've got 7 there. And then on top of your composters, you're going to place down 7 hoppers to get the items to go into that. Now, as with the other droppers, for these 6 droppers here, I did have the observers just constantly on, and there's 2 sets going into the middle of each of the 2 pairs of 3. That way when the middle one gets powered, the other ones are getting powered as well. So if you want to turn those off, I've just quickly come up with this little thing here. If you wanted to have the piston closer and push it past, unfortunately there's going to be a block here later on which will block this, so they need to be pulled out of the way. And all you really need to do is off of the redstone torch that is switching off the system, you just need to do a line going out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then come across 1, 2, 3, 4, and have a repeater going into a block which goes into a torch. Alright, this is a quick fix for a part that I kind of did on the fly earlier, and you'll notice the farm is done and running because I did actually finish it and then I found out that this wasn't working. So I'm just going to plug this in right here so you can see what actually needs to be done. So from the repeater that we mentioned here, you want to go up with a torch tower, and you want to go 3 torches up, so 1 block, a torch, 1 block, a torch, 1 block, a torch, and then place a block above that torch. And then you want to do this zigzag pattern, so away from the sticky piston, you're going to place a torch onto a block, and then a torch on the side onto a block, and then a torch on the side onto a block, and you go up 1, 2, 3, 4 sideways torches like that, with the top block being powered so that both of those pistons are now activated. And if I switch this off, you'll see they both get deactivated as well. So now we have our droppers set up to return the bone meal to the top farm. We have all of our hoppers and our composters set up. So now we just need to put in the second farm. And to do that, we're going to go off the side of these composters, two glass blocks out on each side. And then we're going to repeat the same pattern that we had on the bottom. So we come out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you'll see that lines up with the bottom pistons. And same on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you just need to fill out this area. And now, repeating that bottom layer, we need to place our furnaces on the end of the glass. So you need 7 there, you don't need to go to the end where the composters are. And same on the other side, 7 furnaces out like this. Now this layer of concrete that we placed above the lava is actually the same as the bottom layer here, so that's where they kind of connect up. And we're going to go put in redstone dust on the sides of these, leaving the end block open as we did before. And then we're going to place a block on the side of that redstone and come all the way across to match up with the redstone. And then we're just going to place redstone dust on top of those concrete as well, same as we did before. And now we want to place the repeaters going into that on 4 ticks on both sides. And now, just like the first layer, we need to place in our first row of pistons. So you have 7 pistons on top of the redstone dust on each side. And now you want to fill out from the pistons all the way across with stone again, and this is where your second layer of the farm is going to be, and just like that we go all the way to the other pistons. So now we're going to add the redstone in for the second line to connect this up. So on the side of this repeater on the back here, you're going to place a block, and then you want to place a redstone on that block with a block on the side of the redstone, and then you want to go 6 blocks off of the side of that block. You should have like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. Then you're going to want a slab on this block here with a redstone on top and going up to here. And then you're just going to cover this whole thing in redstone just like that. And then we're going to take our observers again and put 1 on each side of this redstone. Now coming off of that observer, we're going to go out 3 blocks, and you're going to have basically 2 full blocks just like this, the same as on the first layer. And then you can place another full block like this, so we have this triangle shape again. And then you just want to place this on both sides like that, so you have the triangle now on the observers. And we're going to go over the top of those blocks with redstone, and now that is connected up to this repeater. Now we're going to place a line of glass along the back of the pistons and the stone blocks just like that. And finally, for this layer, we're going to have a slab like that, so that the redstone can then go up to the next part as well. Now, just like we did for the first layer, you need to go on the observer and place some concrete blocks going all the way to the front of the stone, and you do that on both sides. Now on the front of this stone, we're going to cover this up here with glass as well on both sides, so you just have 3 pieces next to all of the hoppers. And then on top of those 3 pieces, you want to place 4 with the 1 extra coming off the end towards the outside of the farm on both sides. And then we want to cover up the front of these hoppers like this with a line of glass blocks. Now off of this concrete on each side, you want to place 1 slab on the outside, and on the inside you want to place a line of glass. Then what you're going to do is, where you just place that glass, you're going to go along and place your trapdoors once again facing towards the front of the farm, so that when you open them they appear like this. And now you can place in your water again. You should have 2 buckets still from doing the bottom layers, and you can do the same thing again, where you take the middle, move across 2, take the middle, move across 2, and then make sure you fill your buckets up, because now we're going to move on to the next bit, which will be placing down the sticky pistons for this layer. So you're going to place 7 sticky pistons on the side of the blue concrete, and same on the other side, 7 sticky pistons on the blue concrete. And now you want to cover all of this up here with the pistons and the stone on both sides. And now we're going to place in our stairs again for the next layer of water, so you can just face down onto the redstone and make sure the ends are turned in so that the water doesn't leak out of the side. And we repeat that on both sides. Now you're going to take your furnaces again and just place them on the side of the stairs. So once you have that done for both sides, you can now go and start placing in your water by placing 1, pick 1 up here, place 1 here, and keep repeating that until you have all of the stairs filled. And then lastly, for this level where you have the glass on the back of the farm, you're just going to place 3 blocks on top of those like that. And you're also going to come and place 1 slab leading up from the redstone here. Now you want to make a box at the top of this tower here, so you place your concrete in a square, and then you want a redstone dust here, and you want a block coming off the side like that, and a repeater going into that block there. So when this is on, this block is now powered, and it will keep these open once we finish the circuit. Then you're going to have a redstone torch on the side, so now you can see that is switched off. Then you can just place concrete on top of all of your trapdoors, and you're going to place a redstone dust next to this torch on the side where the repeater is, and then dust all the way along the top of those concrete blocks. So now we're going to finish up the pistons here, and you should be able to break one of each of these blocks like this again, and then you go up one, up two, break one block, and then this piston should be facing down into this layer of stone here, and then you can break your temporary block and just go along and place in all 7 pistons. And we're going to repeat that process on both sides, and then once you have done that, we're going to just refill in this stone just to make the farm all set up and ready. So placing in the second row of pistons now. Once you have all of your pistons in, we're going to place 2 blocks of glass coming off of the pistons here, cover the water in glass like this, and 2 blocks on the other end, so you've made a box here. We're going to do the same on the other side, so 2 blocks, then cover the water here, and then 2 blocks. And you can also, while you have your glass, place in the line of glass here, which is just keeping the items in the farm. So just on the side of the blue concrete on top of your trapdoors, on each end you're just going to place a line of glass. This is now where you can take your remaining lava buckets, so you can just place one on top of the stone in the middle block, just like that. And now we are going to connect up the remaining pistons. So on each side where you have this slab, place one slab going up into these pistons. Same on this side. Then we can take 2 redstone dust on top of those slabs. Then you can place 1 redstone dust on the blue concrete, so we have a line of 3 here. Then we're going to place 2 repeaters down, 1 on the lower level going into the sticky pistons on 1 tick, and 1 on the top level going into the regular pistons pushing down on 2 ticks. Then we can just go and place redstone dust on top of all of the pistons and on top of all of the blue concrete. And that is all of that side actually set up and ready all the way down. If you wish, if you have it open at the top, you can just place a line of blocks, any blocks really, on top of the lava here, just to cover that up so you don't have any water dropping into it later, but it's not necessary. And now we repeat the same on this side, 1 extra redstone dust on the blue concrete, and then we have 2 repeaters with the one at the top being on 2 ticks and the one at the bottom being on 1 tick. And then we just finish off the line of redstone dust on top of the concrete and the normal pistons. So now the final steps that we have to do is to set up the moss part of this farm, and also the hoppers going back into the farm to allow us to get the bone meal back. So if you go to the middle of the blue concrete here, you place 1 block, and then you can go to the middle here and place 3 blocks in. On the side of this 3rd block you want to place your 2nd dispenser, and then a moss block coming off of that. Now you want to place your 2nd target block on top of here. So off of the target block you need to place 1 redstone torch and then 1 redstone dust. Then you can place in a repeater next to the target block and set that on 4 ticks. Off of this repeater you want to take your observers and place 1 coming off of it like that, with a normal piston leading onto the moss block. Now the purpose of this is obviously to clear any carpets or any of the saplings that appear, because those will actually stop the bone meal from growing onto the other items. Now we are going to connect this up here, so you can place a hopper on the side of that dispenser, and you can place 4 hoppers like this. Now you could in fact remove this dropper and have the hoppers go all the way along. The other reason I did it was just so that this wasn't activating on the hopper, just in case it caused any issues. So it's up to you. You can either remove this dropper and go along like this, just to over the top, or you can do what I've done, which is place it like this, and that way that dropper will put the item into the hopper, it will go all the way along, and then we just want to cover up these 4 blocks here. And you can also cover these ones up here, because obviously this is the top of the farm, so if anything falls in that it could cause you an issue, but I imagine that if something did fall in, it would eventually just get dispensed or just be stuck in the hopper as a slot, because in theory it's only using 1 bone meal every time, so there would still be stacks in here. Now one other thing I would recommend doing at this stage is just fill up this dispenser. You don't need to, you can put a few in there. You will need to put some in to get the farm started, but I think that this just kind of covers you if there's for any reason any issue. I haven't run into any yet with it, so you can probably just put one stack in and you will be fine. So that is the farm finished, and that is all your redstone done, and this should now be working. So let's give it a test so you can see. And also I have just gone in and just rearranged the items that were in these item sorters, because now this is all ready to filter them out correctly. So if we switch this on, you'll see items start coming out, and the top is mossing, the second layer is mossing, and that is all working correctly. And you can see this is just flowing into the chests now. And these other items are filling up slowly. So that is the moss farm finished, and if you want to get the litematc file for that, it can actually be found in my Discord server, which you can join through the about page on my channel, and it was kindly created for me by one of the subscribers, Don Pebble. And we have a channel called the Scarif Vault Schematics, because that is where the Death Star plans were kept, and it is a Star Wars channel, so we tried to keep it relevant here. But I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that was useful to you in understanding the mechanics and how this farm works and being able to build it for yourself. And I hope you have a nice day.